At the height of the First World War, the world witnessed the first ever combat tanks. The armored giants made for breaching enemy fortifications were sowing fear. But at the same time, they were incredibly clumsy. It would take their creators a lot of time to find the perfect shapes and optimal design solutions. In the meantime, creative processes would sometimes give birth to truly peculiar machines, like giants with diamond-shaped tracks, self-propelled armed boxes, and others. Great Britain was the first to introduce tanks into regular service, with France following suit. The Republic didn't limit itself to developing its own combat vehicles. It also established domestic production. For instance, the St-Chamond was one of the most mass-produced tanks of the period, bearing the name of the manufacturing commune. It was designed as an armored and well-armed combat vehicle with an ability to cross trenches and ditches. Its main advantage was going to be a long-barreled 75mm cannon. The task of putting it inside the tank was given to one of the gun's creators, military engineer Émile Rimailho. Unlike his later counterparts, he had to quite literally put the cannon inside the tank. The field gun had to be fit whole, together with its mount. The barrel was sticking out in the front of the hull, while the rest of the machine was something like a superstructure. The cannon was a major trait of the tank, but it had other advantages as well. The engineers used a gasoline-electric transmission from a railcar that allowed for equal speeds when moving both forward and in reverse. A top speed of 12 kilometers an hour may seem laughable now, but back then, it was twice as fast as the British diamond-shaped model. At least, in theory. Practice was much less straightforward. The St-Chamond would often dive nose first into the ground, since a part of its hull protruded far beyond the tracks. The vehicle was supposed to cross trenches and ditches, paving the way for infantry, but instead it would often get stuck on small bumps before it could get to the front lines. Of course, this fact couldn't help but ruin its reputation. What's the point of a machine that would rather get stuck on the road than aid in combat? Besides, the German army quickly found ways to counteract armored vehicles by adding cannons to their positions and surrounding them with special moats. The mobility problems made the vehicle perform poorly, even as an SPG. Nevertheless, a tank is a tank, meaning it's still armed and armored. In some sense, the St-Chamond was the precursor of tank destroyers and self-propelled guns, more specialized and advanced designs that tried to fit the most powerful gun available into a turretless hull. French engineers learned a good lesson from that tank. In 1917, France was the first to introduce a classic tank into service, the turreted Renault FT-17. They also made something special for breaching fortifications, the Char 2C landship. It was finished too late for World War I, but by that time, it was already clear that a tank must have a turret.